Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
TGIF. Thank God it's football season. Fridays mean football, and we've got your weekend preview right here. Welcome to the Friday Football Fun Fest.
Showtime! How y'all feel?
All I want to know if you got your popcorn ready.
Featuring former Viking long snapper, the superstar, Mike Morris. Now here's your host from the Pioneer Press, Brian Murphy.
Are we ever going to see the sun again? I don't think I've seen it in it's over a week. It is cold, it is dark, it is gloomy, and the Vikings aren't playing this week. It's the bye,
and it's November 3rd.
And this is, we are staring into the long abyss of winter already. It's too much too soon.
It's ridiculous and asinine as far as I'm concerned.
And you last week you were coming back from Mexico. I'm guessing you did not have a similar toasty experience this week.
I did not. I really didn't. Just kind of an easygoing week back on the grind. Just pounding iron out with everybody. It's just being on a rock pile at a prison, with just a pickaxe.
With a pick?
Yeah. Just
and a knit cap?
Yeah. And you got like a big ball and chain hanging on your ankles. That's what I went right back to the shop. But it's kind of a cool time of year as well because
well, it is. It's
Halloween,
football.
The holiday thing and the football season is upon us, and we're in the thick of it, man. 8 games down, half the season is done. It's in the bank.
Perfect time for a bye.
Yeah, it is. It's a good time to heal up.
I got a question for you. Trick or treater wise, did you do well? Did you empty your bucket? Did you just throw one out there? Did you have anybody?
I went and bought, I don't know how much candy. I mean, I tried to get smart this year and go with like the tiny little Tootsie Rolls, but you can get like 10,000 of them.
Nobody
for like
likes
$3.
that guy. Nobody likes
no one likes him. But
they
I
want full-size candy bars.
I know. But I went ahead and I sprinkled some Reese's in there. And then whatever kid came up to the door, I'd just say, those Reese's are going really fast. I mean, the kids are just sort of hand-picking the Reese's out of there. I had a bunch of them. I only had like 10.
The buttercups, right?
Yeah, I lied to them.
The single cups or the full? Okay.
Just the little ones, the minis.
Yep.
But then there was just tons of suckers. You can buy them for like $1 for 10,000 suckers.
Well, we kind of do the honor system where, we took the kids out, obviously, and
leave the bucket
and say, take two, minimum of 2, when we should have just said, take everything you want, because you come back and it's just full there anyway, and it's just going to sit there collecting dust and adding to your cholesterol levels. Reavers, though, I think you'd appreciate this.
Talk to me.
Down the block from our house, we had a neighbor, as we were sitting out on the curb, said, by the way, I have treats for the adults as well.
Oh, yes.
And little airplane bottles
Genius.
of liquor.
Genius.
Oh, nice.
She had a huge basket full of them. Now,
did she work for like an airline?
I'm guessing she was a flight attendant. Because,
okay.
Wow.
But I walked away with a
neighbor.
and it was a cool, it was obviously a crisp night. I walked away with a 3 fingers of Jameson, which is not bad for a Tuesday night Halloween fest.
Not bad at all.
So I've got 2 young ones, 5 and 2.
Yep.
The 5 who just turned 6 yesterday, but he was all about it. I mean, it's like, let's go. We're going to hit every house. And the 2-year-old's like, okay, I'm just going to do what my big brother wants. So I'm on the end of a cul-de-sac, and it's all people it's young families with young kids. That's all our neighborhood is. So we do the loop, right? So we started we walk up, walk down, and it was frigid because we didn't leave our house until probably 7:30.
Oh, so you're already in darkness.
Right.
Yeah, okay, you're not playing.
Because I didn't get home until, I was here till 6.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so we get all the way back, and I'm kind of looking around, and she's like, well, we're going to go over to this next neighborhood. And the 2-year-old looks up, and he says, Daddy, we go in and watch baseball. I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
I love you so much right now. So I got to walk in and I better take care of him. He's cold, I said.
And he was good.
She's
knew
going,
exactly what button to push.
You know what? Oh, it was great.
That's
It was
when you know
almost
you got a
like
good
I
kid.
told him
You're
to say
raising
that.
the kid right.
Oh, it was
You're raising
great.
him right.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Well,
I bought a new mask. I got a new Michael Myers mask. The old one's getting a little bit.
I heard you like to stalk the neighborhood a little bit.
I did do that. I scared some people. I got some candy out of the deal. I probably didn't do it the way you should do it. I mean, where you go up to the door and you knock on the door and the whole thing, and you get the treats. I was just taking bags of candy from kids that already had
with a bloody machete in the other hand.
Yeah. I just thought, they've already got the candy I want.
So you got the full Michael Myers work suit, white mask.
Yes.
Don't say a word.
The whole thing. No,
just
don't
stalk,
say anything, and
a machete,
a really large knife, like a kitchen knife, and it worked. It worked really well. I mean, I got bags of candy from little kids.
Yeah, you probably also have 14 felony calls out on you too. But
it's Mike again. I put that thing on. I tried to get the It clown, but I couldn't find him anymore. And I wanted to get the It clown face and go walking around with that, or at least answer the door with candy for the kids. And then I thought, man, that's a little too heavy.
I saw a lot of chatter about how disturbing the latest iteration of that was. Why is that? Something coming out of the sewers or something?
Yeah, clowns. Pulling you in, not really coming out. Pulling you into the sewers. Yeah. And clowns just creep people out. I don't get it.
I'm not a huge clown fan. I'm not anti-clown. I know a lot of people are anti-clown. I mean, it does. I think Poltergeist is probably what did that to a lot of people when that poor clown on the chair came over and strangled the kid.
Well, that's not a good thing. I think also that maybe clowns got a bad reputation when John Wayne Gacy popped up on the scene. He was Pogo the clown. He would actually do kids' birthday parties in a clown suit.
Yeah, you never want your act to be commandeered by a serial killer.
Right.
It just generally doesn't end well for the act.
Not good at all. He broke all the different clown etiquette rules of how you do your face and everything. You're just supposed to keep all the edges round, but Gacy would just make all of his really sharp and rigid, and the eyes were really intimidating. But he still went as Pogo to all the parties, and the kids apparently loved him.
Because you're the aficionado on serial killers, correct?
I am. You can talk any of them you want. New movie coming out, My Friend Dahmer. That's gonna be insane.
Who's in it?
The casting was one of the kid playing Dahmer.
Is it Hollywood or is it a TV?
It is. No, it's Hollywood, and the kid that they cast for the Dahmer part he's from the Disney Channel, one of the Disney shows. And he looks just like him. It's back when little Jeffrey was in high school. Looks just like him. We should all go see it together. Chris, you in?
Of course.
2
You wanna go
o'clock.
see
I'm
that?
always in.
Just do it in the afternoon, though, not at night. I don't want to be in there at night.
Oh, come on.
It's not because of me. I'm just worried who would be in there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
Let's go midday when they're. Well, actually, the creeps could be in there in midday because they're generally not gainfully employed and generally a part of society, right?
Much like us. Very much like us.
Manny, how you doing, buddy? Welcome in.
Thank you.
We were just talking about our Halloween experiences. Did you have to give away a lot, or did you end up inheriting a lot of candy, bringing it back in?
This year, I didn't do any Halloween festivities aside from watching the World Series and
did you give candy away?
Nope.
Way to go, man.
Just keep the porch light off.
I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Halloween in terms of giving out candy. I'm the one who usually turns the light off and pretends like I'm not home.
At least you're honest about it.
Scrooge, man. What's up, man?
I'm a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Halloween. I do love my horror movies, though.
Do you still get the bangs on the glass anyway? The bang on the door, even if you do leave the light off?
Used to, yeah.
But now everyone in the neighborhood knows. Let's just avoid that house.
He's in there being a grump.
I do have a Michael Myers mask, though. Like,
yes.
One day I could open the door with just that mask on and,
I've got pictures of me wearing the Michael Myers mask for Halloween. I'll show them to you.
Yeah.
They're nice.
I got a couple of those, too.
They're very nice.
And you've got the height for it, too.
Yeah.
Do you have the stalk? I mean, his gait going down.
I got that whole saunter thing going on.
Yes.
I mean, he's sort of he's got a vibe about him, no question about
Star,
it.
you could pull off a Jason Voorhees pretty good.
I've got a Jason mask out in the truck right now.
Because Jason Voorhees was like the big hulking.
Yeah, he was.
I would literally soil myself if I saw you in that mask.
Until I show you.
I mean, you're an intimidating guy to begin with, and then you throw the mask on top of
I've got it in the truck. I'll run out at the
and the
break
work suit too, man. The
Yeah,
work
I
suit's
got
what
it.
brings it home.
I got the jumpsuit.
Like olive green or the dark
The
blue? Navy blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
It's navy blue.
Oh,
It's kind of a white T-shirt underneath that, but You know, the first one we watched Halloween, they had the remake, the original one with Jamie Lee Curtis, and the original Michael Myers is just tiny. He's small, but by the time they get to the Rob Zombie one, I mean, the guy is huge.
The guy that played him was he's like an ex-pro wrestler or something like that. I think.
Correct.
Tyler Mane or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Put a TV over someone's head in that. It was pretty cool. He had to grab the TV off the mount up on top of the ceiling almost, and then he put it right over the most trusted guy that thought of him the most, the guard at the asylum was trying to talk him back down to earth, and he looked at him real funny like he was going to actually do it. And he just said, no, I'd rather put this TV over his head and just end it. So he did.
And that he did, yeah.
Mike Morris is Mike Myers.
That's right.
And keep your phone ready to dial 911. It's 3:13. We'll be back. We'll talk a little bit of Vikings. They're going into the bye at 6-2 this week. They have no opponent. They're all scattered into the wind. This is Murphy and Morris in on the Friday Football Fun Fest.
This is the Friday Football Fun Fest
Football heaven.
on 1500 ESPN.
American Idiot. Correct?
Green Day, baby.
Green Day,
Yeah.
American Idiot. The Vikings are among 6 teams with a bye this week. They've scattered into the wind, which means, I guess, sphincters are tightening throughout the front office as the police blotters chirp this weekend. Actually, the Vikings have been a very well-behaved team under Mike Zimmer compared to some of the rogue behavior of the previous decade. But they've positioned themselves. They did what they needed to do in Cleveland. They took care of business in London. They went there for a business trip. They played well enough on both sides of the ball to just kind of flick the Browns away as they were an 0-8 team. 6-2, alone in first place. They seem to have found a formula here, and their quarterbacks are getting healthier. Where do you see the state of the Vikings now, sir?
Well, you know, one thing you just mentioned was the way Mike Zimmer handles this team and what they know they probably shouldn't do to get him off track or to get him in a way where he wants to maybe run them a little extra. Because you remember probably because you cover them so closely, but he actually stopped one practice from even happening, and he just kept him inside and talked to him. That was like 1 year ago, maybe 2, and that was a beatdown. I mean, that was a beatdown meeting, I was told, for something that he found out about that was off the field.
Oh,
and so it was a disciplinary measure, and the little talk, the little powwow that he had with them, it's been really quiet since then. Under his regime, I mean, it has been really super quiet.
I think it was from 2000 to 2011. The San Diego Union Tribune had that arrest database, and the Vikings were at the top for the longest time.
Always.
And they were constantly, DUIs and domestics and arrests, and again, they're going to say this at Winter Park, knock on wood, but it's been a pretty tame. But the bye week was always the risk because it's everybody's going back home, everybody's going home to party a little bit, let down their hair.
Exactly right. And Denny would actually make us practice the extra day, give us the bye week, whatever he had to give by way of
union
the
mandate,
and the CBA. So, and he'd call us back as early as he possibly could and get us in pads. But his win in and then winning coming out of the bye week was incredible. I think he had 8, maybe more, 10 going in and then coming out, consecutive wins. He took it really seriously, and he didn't want us coming out of a bye week rusty or sluggish or tired of football already. And it's only halfway through.
There was a day, of course, when players did not get any buys.
None.
I mean, it was 16-week grind all the way through. It's been about 25 years. There were a couple of years where there were 2 of them.
There were 2 of them. I hated that.
Why?
Because it just drug everything out, and you just have to practice against each other for 2 weeks. Like right in the middle of the season, you're into games. You're either on track or you're off track. But the only way to get back on if you're off track is to play, get back to a game, and see what you got for the next week. You don't want to linger and sit on it. Now, if you win, it's a good time. But then you can get really lackadaisical. You start believing the press. You start believing what they're saying about you, and then you fall off the edge of the world again. But it's always so much better to stay in that ritual, that grind, if you're a football player.
Well, take us into the locker room, though. As a bye approaches, I mean, that's got to be a fun thought. Like, it's like you get a mini vacation in the middle of the season.
A little break. you miss your kids, you miss your family, the whole 9 yards. And if you can get back home and see your parents and whatever else, that's rejuvenating.
Get on a plane, go see your college team.
Absolutely. Go back to school, check out the team, and
hit the clubs.
Hit the clubs. If you're one of the single players, that's what they do. And you just have to be really super careful with what you're doing out there if you've got that kind of free time, because you can fall off the edge pretty quickly, and all that stuff that you were doing to keep on track and to stay focused during the season, that has to be dialed back in.
A couple of drinks, a couple of poor decisions on a Saturday night into Sunday morning,
you're locked up in the.
Next thing you know, you're having a scrum in front of your locker, reading from an index card about how you let down your teammates and how you apologize, and I want to make this right.
I didn't mean to do it. I swear I didn't, and I'd like to just say I'm sorry
and defer all questions to my attorney.
Yeah. I don't know, but I just think that Mike's done a really good job of keeping the sense of urgency down at Winter Park. And
well, he set expectations to, you're going to disappoint not just me, but your teammates in the organization. Yeah. And there seems to be a sense of, I don't want to be that guy.
I think there's some peer pressure where I think he's finally allowed, and he's got the type of leadership in the locker room now where they police their own. They police their own locker room, much like the Patriots. They take care of business within the locker room. The players do. The coaches don't have to say very much because it's built in. And when you can take care of, when the older players can take care of the younger players and keep them on base and put them in a corner and talk to them real down to earth if they get out of line, and put them in their place real quick, you can nip it right away. If the players are doing it, if you have a really good locker room, you could do that. That was a 98 locker room. It really was. We had a lot of that built in.
Vikings have had, you should know this going into the bye, maybe defensively, you're probably not surprised. They rank third in yardage and fourth in points allowed. But think about where they are, their balanced attack with Case Keenum. They're in the top half in points scored and third down conversions. They're moving the ball. They're getting things done. Well, who would you say is the first half MVP?
You know what? If I had to pick an offensive one, and Manny and I did this for the Star Power podcast a week ago, on the defensive side of the ball, I gave it to Harrison Smith. I just think he's incredible. And they have a lot of really fine football players.
Be a lot of people fighting over that trophy on the defensive side.
I think so. I mean, you could say Everson Griffin. You could say
Eric Kendricks. Kendricks has had a great season.
Joseph. They do have a long list over there.
Rhodes, because he's just basically being ignored.
He really is. And when you're being ignored and they're not coming your way, that's a good thing when they don't want to come your direction. On the offensive side of the ball, it'd be too easy to say, well, the offensive line's done a pretty good job here. And they have, because that's really has allowed some of the things to happen.
Riley Reif.
Riley Reif. You could make a case for Riley Reif right now. And I think Manny and I both agreed that Thielen is he's amazing. I mean, you get the ball close to him, that catch radius is no longer really just a catch radius. It's super glue.
Well, he's precise, too.
He really is. He gets open. He's way faster than I think any of us thought he was. He's bigger than we thought he was. I mean, he really is a pretty good-sized football player in the modern game of wide receivers. He kind of fits that mold, and he's faster than you think he is. So I would give it probably, like Manny, he and I both agreed on Thielen, too. But Case Keenum, He's got the ball in his hands every play. So I mean, you have to look at him and say, good job, Well,
we'll talk a little bit more later in the show about the Vikings quarterback situation. General Manager Rick Spielman sat down with some writers this week and talked for about a half hour and said basically nothing, as he was wont to do, in terms of giving away any sense of where the Vikings and Teddy Bridgewater are going to be, maybe even Sam Bradford. But just before we go into the break here, 5 of the next 7 games are on the road.
Isn't that
keep
amazing?
An eye on.
That is amazing.
They're paying the piper for all the home games. 3 big road games at Detroit Thanksgiving, December 3rd at Atlanta, and December 23rd at Green Bay. It may be Aaron Rodgers might be returning about that time, but we'll be back with more of the Friday Football Fun Fest right after this. 3:31 on a Friday afternoon. John Haidt is in here with the news and sports update.
Thank you, Murph. Cloudy and 34 degrees. The Wolves with 2 home games this weekend. Tomorrow night, the Dallas Mavericks in for a game at the Target Center. Then on Sunday, it'll be Charlotte in for a Wolves home game. Wild with a big 6-3 win last night over the Montreal Canadiens. They wrap up that long 6-game homestand tomorrow night against the Chicago Blackhawks at the Xcel Energy Center. The Cubs announced they've claimed lefty Randy Rosario off waivers from the Twins. Huh? Yeah, Randy. You remember Randy?
Yeah.
23-year-old Randy Rosario. He, taken by the Cubs off waivers.
Why did the Twins place him on waivers?
You look very concerned, Chris.
Well, he was a prospect.
He was a prospect. Yes, he was. That's true.
Well, it's true. The Twins don't need much pitching prospect.
Hard-throwing lefty out of the Dominican.
Like a hard-throwing lefty from the Dominican.
He has had some problems as he's ascended through Minnesota's minor league ranks. This past season, he went 57 in the third innings with a 4.08 ERA. He did spend a little bit of time, you might remember, up here with the Twins this year. 2 1/3 innings, gave up 8 runs in those 2 1/3, but he has been considered among the team's 20 to 30 best prospects in recent years. So, sorry, Chris.
Is this one of those where they maybe tried to sneak him through waivers?
That's what I'm guessing. I'm wondering.
You're going to be okay, aren't you?
Well, no.
I mean, are you just going to fall off now and not? We can't even hear.
You know what I do?
Or come to you for a.
I believe
the
word is crestfallen.
I trust the process. I trust Falvey and Levine.
I don't know about that because the face you made was like somebody dropped a big rock on your car.
Well, it's just a curious move, as I guess I'm.
Yeah.
You know, unless this is, hey, we're going to go in and acquire a lot of guys, then I'm fine with it. Because they need some pitching.
They need a guy.
Yeah.
News notes from today. The Minnesota Deer Opener begins just before sunrise tomorrow. According to the state's Department of Natural Resources, the opener, more like an annual holiday with nearly 500,000 people expected to bag a buck. Wildlife Population and Regulations Program Manager Steve Merchant predicts the season should be one of the best for hunters because the deer herd has increased tremendously.
When doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, the population is... It's bigger every year.
Well, they're talking about thinning it sometimes, yeah.
And thinning the herd has been an issue forever.
My favorite though is out by me. I'm out in Carver. I start hearing gunshots like
midnight.
20 minutes before it's even sunrise.
Do you have like buckshot hitting the roof of the house?
I hate this weekend out by my house. I really do.
You have to take cover all weekend.
Yes, basically. Nobody's allowed to be outside.
Don't live in the city. You live out
hunker down.
Merchant said, we think we are going to harvest right around 200,000 deer, which would be the highest number since 2010.
A lot of killing.
He said, we harvested 173,000 last year. We expect to see a significant bump from that. According to the DNR, 3 consecutive mild winters and 3 years of tight harvest regulations combined help Minnesota's deer population to grow.
I think like half of that deer, too, is like running around Minneapolis, probably.
With the turkeys.
Probably 200,000 of them on the highway every morning, Dad. They bag themselves.
That's a lot of carcass.
Yeah.
Is it carcasses or carcass?
Carcass. What?
I'm going to look that up.
It's the plural of carcass.
Could be carcass. I mean, it's cacti, but it's not carcass.
I told you guys about did I tell you guys the story about the deer I saw running through North Minneapolis?
You know, I would have remembered it.
Yeah, I was still doing the Saturday night shift here, and drove home. This was like midnight, 12:30ish, and Broadway and Lindale. You know, you get off 94, Broadway and Lindale, and there was a deer. There's a Wendy's and a Taco Bell over there, and deer just ran across the street.
He was making a run for the border.
Making a run for the border.
Nice.
Yeah, he wanted a chalupa. You know,
he runs out.
Did someone pick him off?
No, he just ran across the street and
He's
looked
serving
back.
venison at Taco Bell.
Sorry to burst your bubble, Murph. It is carcasses.
Yeah, I knew it. I figured it.
I was going to go with it. That sounded cool.
I like carcass. Good way to go.
Country Music Association is apologizing after trying to impose media restrictions on questions about the mass shooting in Las Vegas, gun rights, or political affiliations at their award show next Wednesday. Statement from the CMA today said the restrictions on topics in their media guidelines have been lifted after a backlash. Part of that backlash came from the co-host for the show, Brad Paisley. Paisley tweeting this morning, the restrictions were ridiculous and unfair. The association initially said in its guidelines the restrictions were out of respect for the artists and that media who strayed from the guidelines could have their credentials potentially revoked via security escort.
Stay to the fluff. Stay with the fluff.
Yeah.
God, what can you do about it? I mean, how do you make a comment, just a vague, open comment like that, just because it was at a country show? The guy was nuts. How do you make sense out of nonsense? You can't even go with that.
Well, but you shouldn't restrict people from asking about it. They can say anything
I know
they
that,
want.
but I mean, how can you categorize it because it was a country show? I mean, what? He was going to do it anyway. Wouldn't matter if it was a rock show or not.
He actually scouted a rock show before that.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, Lollapalooza in Chicago.
A Dublin, Georgia man has been charged with shooting and killing a close friend during an argument. According to a local TV station, 21-year-old Raquan Paldo is facing murder charges after he shot Jaquel Smith in the head twice on Sunday. What were they arguing about? The meaning of forgiveness in the Bible.
Oh, my God. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, somebody won.
Grow the hell up.
Investigators said that Paldo and the 20-year-old college student got into a heated argument about the Bible and turned into what the local police chief called something else. Dublin Police
Retribution.
Something completely different.
Dublin Police Chief Tim Chapman said the two were longtime friends. They knew each other a long time. He said they were arguing over stuff that didn't make any sense. Paldo is being held on murder charges.
Shot him twice. So the first time didn't do it.
Well, he didn't forgive him.
One per testament.
So he did it again. I'm sorry.
One per testament.
One per Oh, that was well written. It went right over my head.
That was Murph. That wasn't me.
Very good. Well done. Well done.
A lizard.
I forgive you.
A lizard that can grow up to 8 feet long, found in Southern California, thousands of miles from its native land. Authorities think it's probably a pet gone astray. It was a 4-foot-long crocodile monitor. Guy came out in his backyard of his riverside home to see the monitor sunning himself on top of his hedges. The crocodile monitor is a relative of the famous Komodo dragon. It's native to New Guinea and Indonesia, not California. It's green and yellow and has big claws, a long tail, and a forked tongue.
What do you do with that if it's your pet? Is it in a cage? Do you have it running around the living room like a dog?
Kind of let it do whatever it wants to do.
At 8 foot long, I think it can do what it wants.
I suppose.
You remember Orlando Smith, right? Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah.
He had an alligator in a pit in his backyard.
Really?
Yeah, he dug it.
Here?
Dug a
Eden
hole.
Prairie?
I think Eden Prairie. Pretty close. He had an alligator. They caught him with it. No one knew he had it. It had grown from like 2 or 3 feet long to like 6. Alligator. Wow. He didn't know what he was doing.
So what did he do? Dump it in Lake Calhoun then? We got sick of it or what?
I think they took it from him.
Wow.
Idiot. Just an idiot. Called him Sugar.
Why?
What's up, Sugar?
Why was
he was just too sweet. He thought he was.
I gotcha.
God, man.
A Colorado couple have introduced a new deodorant made with whiskey.
I'll buy some.
Erica and Jason Fucht of Loveland launched a Kickstarter this week for their all-natural, booze-based underarm deodorant called Pit Liquor. Get it?
Oh, man.
Put that on. You can
These
come in
people
as
are
late
gonna
as you
make a
want
killing.
and just say, hey, I smell something on your breath. No, it's my armpits, man.
Product
I put it on.
Comes in 3 varieties: whiskey lavender, whiskey vanilla, and whiskey black pepper. The makers say the alcohol kills the bacteria in smelly armpits.
Sir, have you had anything to drink tonight? Yeah, nah, it's just my deal.
No, just
3-6.
I'm not drinking. I'm just sweating.
That was a whiskey sour.
Although it's made with real whiskey, the brand promises you won't smell like you've been at the bar all day. They said, no, you can't drink it, and you can't get drunk from it.
The hell I can't. Come try. I'm going to try. You think I won't? You think I won't try it?
Non on a speed stick.
I don't care if it's gel. It's going down.
The company said it's similar to hand sanitizer when you smell it initially, but then it goes away. A couple said they came up with the idea when Erica was pregnant with her first child. They formulated a deodorant while she was pregnant. They wanted something that they didn't think was toxic. In other words, that didn't have all the unnatural ingredients that many deodorants come with. So,
well, that makes sense.
The idea came
alcohol.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. We'll be back with more of the Friday Football Fun Fest right after this. I look over and I see Chris Reavers putting a tee in the ground, taking a ball out of the bag, and setting it right on there.
God, I love this song. So, boys, 25 years ago today, this album debuted for Rage Against the Machine.
It did.
25 years ago
amazing?
today.
And it's current.
Awesome.
It's still relevant, right?
The only thing I'm mad about is that Kenny's not here because he's the only guy that loves Rage more than I do.
No, you got another one right here. Tom Morello and Zach. Are you kidding me?
Were you at the show at Target Center?
I was there with all the horses and all the all the gas masks on, had the billy clubs out. I walked right through them, man. Right through the middle.
There was a group of us from the station that when it was announced, we're like, we got to go. I mean, this is going to be epic. We have to go, and it did not disappoint.
It was unbelievable.
It was so awesome.
Well, Morello's kind of, I don't want to say remade himself, but he's recast himself even more so of a man of the people. What do you think about him sort of merging with Springsteen for a bit there too?
I think he can do anything.
Goes to Tom
he can
Joad.
do anything. He's from Harvard. I mean, here's a guy that can do anything. I mean, they had a really nice sort of a document, not a documentary, but have you seen Joe Buck's Undeniable?
No.
There's an equivalent show to that called Fear Less, and both the shows are produced by Vince Vaughn, and they're really good.
What's it called, Star? Fear Less?
Fear Less. Or
okay.
Fear Less.
Okay.
And they did Tom Morello. He is an incredible story, and he is so well spoken. I mean, he's so articulate.
Oh yeah,
and he can do anything with a guitar. And he loves AC/DC. He loves the Clash, like I do. God, he's brilliant.
So he's your guy.
Oh yeah.
And he's always snapping strings, right? Isn't that why he's got him?
He plays hard.
He plays hard, and he's got they're flopping up on his at the end of his neck.
Absolutely. And De La Roca. I mean, who else does it better than him? Those guys could. I mean, honestly, they could play on forever. That album is still. It holds up with anything still, because it's so different. I mean, the change of pace throughout every one of those songs, it's amazing.
And that's why, personally, it was cool because you got to be an adult. But for me, when this album came out, I was 15. And it was okay. Now I get to be a 15-year-old kid.
It was kind of right
roaming the mean streets of Faribault, Minnesota, all over again.
You against the man,
right? Exactly.
Seeking out oppression and stomping it out anywhere I can.
Now I got to be home before the news.
And I had it on in my headsets going out on the field. I mean, to graze a little bit before the game, and then come back inside and get my other stuff on and go back out there and play. But
this was before
my locker room stuff.
This was before the Bose headphones too. These was
way
just a
before.
Walkman. You just put a little cassette tape in.
Cassette tape,
click,
and you just kind of click
snap.
And roll it back, and like, damn, it broke again. It broke
with your little puffy, fuzzy earphones.
Whatever it took, I was just raging, fistful of steel. God, we're gonna play that all day today.
Man, you look like you want to put your hands in the dirt right now.
I do. Let's go. Let's tee it up. I'm gonna kick grass up, as Paul Wiggin used to say. I want to see grass come up. You know what I mean?
Does that mean you got good traction?
That means when you're getting off the ball really good, you're kicking grass up. In
I see. Yeah, okay. Kind of like when a dog, does that after it relieves itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a pit bull that does that. I'm like, what's the deal with this? Why is this? Then the Roddy doesn't do it. God, that's so weird. They kick for no reason.
So anyway, did anything happen in Thursday night's Jets-Bills game worth remembering?
Oh, what a stink fest.
I have to,
we only wish it could have been played.
I flipped through it 2 or 3 times, and it didn't stick with me.
No,
I couldn't hang on.
It was in the Meadowlands. If it would have been in Buffalo, I might have hung around just to see if anybody died in the stadium, a night game in Buffalo.
Oh, my God. But speaking of that, so, I'm all in on the Bills Mafia. I'm one of them.
Is this the infant one?
Did you see it?
No, but I've heard about it.
It's so great. So their tradition, we talked about this last week, is that they, the Bills Mafia, they bust themselves through tables. So a dad, who I'm guessing was probably in his mid to late 20s, had his infant, I think it was a boy, might have been a boy, it doesn't matter, but it was an infant.
Days old.
Wrapped up, basically 2 days old.
Swaddled.
Yeah, swaddled up, and he had a Barbie table. And so it says, we're here to baptize young whatever into the Bills Mafia.
He didn't do it.
And he held him, and then he just slammed it down. Not hard, but just enough. It was great,
just enough to be totally inappropriate.
Exactly. It was great. I mean, the baby was not harmed. The baby was sleeping the entire time and didn't even wake up, but it was very funny.
And then they poured Crown Royal into his little bottle.
Now it's time for your bottle, because they are crazy.
A little Crown
Royal.
But
yeah, what an awful stinkfest game that was.
What happened to Thursday night being the prelude to the great sporting weekend?
I just think it's too much, don't you guys?
Yeah,
it's too much.
Just do it week one.
Down.
Just do it week one.
Down.
Yeah. Week 1 and Thanksgiving. That's all it needs to be.
You know what? It's maybe a playoff week. Like the week 16, week 17. I could deal with a Thursday night game somewhere
the greatest invention
between the holidays.
Was Monday Night Football. Leave it alone. Quit trying to make it better by adding more games.
Well, Sunday night's now the premier game.
Sunday night is fantastic, and Tony Romo rocks. By the way, he is outrageous.
He
really
is the one
good.
thing on Thursday night though that you can probably get.
You know what's eerie about it? He does predict things that are going to happen.
He does. Well,
it's
he calls
really
it out.
weird.
He calls it just like it's. I mean, he gives you an idea of what it's like to be in the helmet of a quarterback.
But it's because he's still so connected to the league. Is he going to be able to pull that off long term? Do you think, or will the evolution of
Tony's really good at the situation?
I think he's great. I love. But
he's
like
conversational too.
Right.
He is the Thursday night game too, isn't he? He's not the Sunday. He's the Thursday.
He's Thursday. Yeah.
I mean, there have been some really good Thursday night games, and when that is like the Chiefs and the Raiders
last week, that was good.
It was unbelievable the way he was calling that down the stretch and what they should do in the 2-minute drill. He really is a sharp guy.
I'm surprised nobody's really pining away for Phil Simms still.
Oh, God.
I just wanted to troll you there because I know you can't stand him.
No. Hold on.
I guess
where's my
inside the NFL stuff?
soundbite? Okay. Oh, because you want genius like this.
Remember, for it to be a forward pass, it's got to go forward.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you, Phil. We
Well
really
done.
appreciate that.
The only thing worse than that is Nate Burleson joining the crew.
I haven't heard him do a game. Is he bad?
He hasn't done a game. But
I've seen him do some interviews.
Yeah, he does the.
Oh, that's right. He does the morning
NFL
show. Or whatever
Network
it's called.
morning show.
Okay.
But he joined the team of Phil Simms and Boomer and whomever else that is along with that team.
Oh, the CBS D squad or whatever they are now.
Yes.
But it's to me. You mentioned it, Chris. It is probably oversaturated, and people just don't want to get into it right now. And at this time of year, when you got the World Series going on too, it just loses its
made no sense.
Loses its luster. So Thursday night, another dud last night. We'll be back. Andy Greeter joined us at the top of the hour. He's in Detroit and Ann Arbor. He'll be covering the Gophers and the Wolverines tomorrow. This is Brian Murphy and Mike Morris on Friday Football Fun Fest. Adrian Peterson is going to get tanked on Animal Planet, if you can believe that. It's Friday tonight at 8 p.m. on the Animal Planet. It's time to tackle another tank, and this time it's for one of the NFL's most valuable players. Adrian Peterson is requesting the gang an aquarium that's even more precious than his trophy full of awards.
Will it be just him or him and the camel?
No. I don't think they can get that into an aquarium. The inside of this tank will be truly, quote, blinged out, end quote, with replica diamonds and amethyst crystals. A challenge the guys have never faced before. Not only do they have to impress Adrian, but his wife, too, who wants this tank to be classy and fit perfectly in their foyer wall. The show is obviously sort of a... what are the shows that are on History Channel? You know,
I watch
My Ride
or Pimp My Ride or whatever.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those kinds of shows, and this is one that's been on for a long
basically
time.
Pimp My Aquarium.
Pimp my fish bowl.
They have the thing on NFL Network now. What is it?
Truck.
Tackle My Ride now or something like that. Yeah.
And those things are
which is basically Pimp My Ride.
Doesn't Pat Williams do that? Didn't he have a
company?
He did.
Down in Monroe, Louisiana, his hometown. Yeah,
right.
He used to get the mags going on the wheels and all that.
Latrell Sprewell.
Let's see if I can find a comment.
Had the spinner business.
Hey, Pat, is that shop still open?
Harrisville, yeah, because we got all this talent over here, and then we lost 4, so 3 games, 1-3 right now. So we got a lot of talent. So everybody ain't expect us to be 1-3, just like Dallas inside the same boat we are. So he 1-3.
Gotcha.
So I think we got to come on.
All right.
Pat Williams, man, one of the all-time great guys in that locker room.
Yes. Big Pat.
I miss one of the great characters.
He tried desperately.
Hell of a football player.
Hell of a football
Man,
player.
was he good.
Had a bit of a stuttering problem, and of course was from the Bayou. So you mix those two together, and that's sometimes what you get out of Pat
One of the
Williams.
greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life was Pat Williams. Watching Pat Williams crawl into the side of inside a tank, but Camp Ripley, he got to fire a shot off, but he could barely get out of it.
We're out of here.
Whoa!